Rod Hayes, what and when the extraterrestrial will show themselves to the public?
You be seeing them all the time, but you think they regular people. And some of them you just think ugly as hell and they regular people. And some of them you think exceptionally gorgeous, but they regular people. But they all aliens. All extraterrestrials don't look like that comic book ass shit they be telling y'all. Don't fall for that. You gonna know them by the frequency and not by them telepathically talking to you. If you tuned in to self, you'll recognize them on sight. They here all over the place.
Wolfgang wants to know, is one of the three kings in Tennessee?
Right now, they could be anywhere because they what you call underground. But they will have to be made known to the public. That's the rules of the land.
Where's this question at? Somebody's asking, are the ancestors back on Earth plane?
You, your ancestors. If you here, your ancestors here. You they representative. Just like them being here is you being here. Look, your DNA is it's a microcomputer processor. The codons on your DNA ties to frequencies in order for you to tune in to what is written in the code. There's a series of binary numbers that's on your DNA. That's called communicating with the ancestors. That's why communicating with them brings you higher awareness of self, which gives you more control of the environment around you.
Michelle wants to know, will the grid go down?
I don't know. It's gonna officially go down, but I don't know if it's gonna truly go down. But we're gonna have to, when this shift happens, when the organic earthborn reclaim Earth and it's finally done, everything go dark around the planet, and it could be anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 days. That's what they call the Great Reset, just like they shut us down for COVID.
Makita, I hope I'm saying your name right, wants to know, what is up with Sedona, Arizona? Why are so many non-colored people attracted to that place and not so many colored folk?
The only reason that not so many of the melanated are drawn to Sedona, one is the Pleiadians do a lot of work with what we call the pale face. They got a special affection for them, and they do a lot of work out of Sedona. But most of us don't go because we didn't went down there so many lifetimes. We don't give a fuck if we get there or not. We didn't already did that. That's all old practice. That's ancient practice. But you got a new family member that needed a chance to rule and a chance to ascend. And now there's those beings making it possible. It's all part of the game.
Rod, why does the Palladians have such a special relationship with who we call white folk?
Because a lot of they what we call soul matrix comes from Pleiadian light. As the final two daughters of Isis, Scott and Scotia. And the Isis energy traced back to the Pleiades as well. And the Pleiadians' light lock is what kept the war on Earth outside from spilling outside of Earth. This is what and it's backed up by an Arcturian support system. All these are energy work. All of this is sorcery and conjuring and magic and science. Actually, the science is the magic.
Hmm. So would it be Rod? Would it be beneficial for melanated folks to go to Arizona, or is it like
Look,
it's overrated? Is it overrated, or you know?
nah, we go to those spiritual places when Mother Earth tell us to move. When you don't see us going there, she got us looking in a different direction. They can use that. It's gonna come a time where a lot of melanated people are gonna be drawn to Sedona. Like she's asking the question now. That means there's a curiosity brewing in the community. Others of us want to know. It's a lot of us still go down there. Don't get it twisted. But it's just that a lot of work is being done with the most recent evolved human species of the planet. In order to get them they right to ascend, they had to assimilate their one drop of blood. So now they're going for their spiritual tuning sessions to make sure that they can function in the fifth dimensional matrix and the solar cycle. Because the sun ain't gonna be friendly just because they got the right to ascend. It's gonna be brutal until they adjust.
Hmm. It's quite interesting. That's a whole nother show. Quite interesting. Uh, yeah. Okay. This is something that's said a lot now. Where is it at? Chat moving so fast. Is it true the sea is space and space in the sky is the sea?
You ain't never heard as above, so below. It means exactly what it say, as above, so below. When we talk about coming into creation from the primordial abyss, abyss is the depth of water, but it's not physical water of the earth. It's the primordial noon, the great waters of creation, which is the fluids that run through the womb of the great mother, who we rest creation in as we develop as the gods. It's all Egyptian um, conceptual physics told in story fashion as the story of the gods. Those are all conceptual physics stories that tell you how to read the stars, that tell you how to translate it on Earth and what do it mean when you translate it.
Right, right. Okay. Let's see. Uh, somebody said, okay. Is the sky blue because of the blue sun?
That's a double oxygen molecule called ozone that make the sky appear to be blue. It's it's the oxygen molecule that produces a blue pigment, a baby blue pigment.
All right. Will social media ever come to an end?
I don't know, but I hope my social media days come to a motherfucking end because I'm sick of this shit.
Oh man. All right, let's keep it moving. Um, okay. Why are a lot of melanated people moving to the southern states, particularly from California?
Um, I don't know about particularly from California, but I do know Mississippian culture says that when the energy shift, everybody go back to Big Mama house. For Mississippians, that means the land that we call today Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Georgia, and Florida. That's called the Big Mama's land. We be called the land of the flowers. Florida used to stretch all the way to Texas. But when during the war, the English settled Georgia to separate the clans from merging together and to push the slave narrative to culturally assassinate us as a people. Because they want to take our culture from us so we can't read how to recover our birthrights to the land.
So you saying Florida was once what states was once Florida? So we could really understand what you're saying.
When you come out of Florida and you go west. You're gonna go
Mm.
Georgia, you're gonna go to Arkansas, you're gonna hit Mississippi, Alabama, not in that order. And no, yeah, in that order. And then you're gonna hit Texas. Portions of the border where Texas and Louisiana meet is rigid because of the skirmishes and the setting up of the demarcation lines by the settlers. But the tribes use major monuments as the landmarks. And then we broke the land up into controllable sections for clans to settle on. And these are the ones that they caught traveling to fight in the Gullah Wars. Mm-hmm.
So I got a map, right? So we got
Mm-hmm.
Florida. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
from Florida, you hit Georgia, you hit Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Houston,
Houston
Saturday.
is in Texas.
Right, right. Okay, so after Louisiana, then we got Texas.
Right. Right up in there where your cursor at is the end of the land of flowers. Now you going into the land of dirt and stone, what we would call a desert, going
Mhm.
into Texas.
Okay.
Right. And the land of dirt and stone goes all the way up into what we call today everything that was annexed from Mexico in the Mexico-American War.
Hmm.
Right. So when we was going, the battleground was in the panhandle of Florida,
Hmm.
all the way down into southern Florida. This is where we was fighting the Gullah Wars at.
Hmm.
When we was coming from all over the land, Lewis and Clark backdoored us, and because the castles they saw was didn't have nobody there but caretakers, they declared there was no royalty over here.
Hmm.
And that's how they was able to expand across the Louisiana territory as a furtherance of the crash spot called the Plymouth. Remember, Malcolm said we didn't land on Plymouth Rock,
Hmm.
right? Because they used that as the cause for admiralty jurisdiction to usurp the people of the land.
Hmm. Hmm.
Chief Warhorse can tell you better than me how this go. She
Hmm.
got all the receipts, the old maps and all that. Once you find out where at your people trace to, you're gonna know what tribe you from. It ain't gonna be no secret no more.
Right, 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 right. And what role was Mexico playing in this time period, 1492, around that time when all this was taking place?
Okay, so Mexico was fighting the Spanish. All of the tribes in Mexico is drawn into. You see that little peninsula right there by your cursor to
Over
the
here?
lower left. Oh no, no, go back over to your left, right here in that area.
Yeah.
They confronting the Spanish there on that part of the Mexican continent. So now tribes is migrating all the way from Alaska south to fight the Spaniards.
Mm, mm,
This was to send support to the islands, Jamaica, Cuba, Dominica, all of these islands, Cuba, that you see down there, they were all being mercilessly attacked by the Spanish Armada. The Spanish Armada eventually was backed up by the French and the Dutch.
mm-hmm,
So we was boat jumping from this portion of Mexico going to support the islands. And that's why you see the islanders with varying different tribal makeups because we had to go help them. This is where we had our resorts, right? So Big Mama's on the mainland would trade delicacies with the people from the islands. We would
mm-hmm,
always visit. They cut us off from each other
mm-hmm,
by controlling the water. They took control of the seas first
mm-hmm,
around the borderlands. Once they took control of the seas, they started first annexing the islands and claiming the islands as the territory under the doctrine of discovery.
Mm-hmm.
When they started getting pummeled, they sent the voyage around South America. And that's how the Califia Queens, caught without her kings, got assaulted and her castle got pummeled by the Spanish Armada. And then that we didn't know what hit us.
Damn. So you ever seen the movie Pirates of the Caribbean?
That's about the Spanish. Puerto Rico was set up as a port city, and it was where all of the thieves kept their wealth. That's why it's called the rich port, because all of the wealth that they was stealing from the tribes, they had to take it to Puerto Rico to be inventoried before they ship it to Europe. And the pirates, honor among thieves, that's why they set up cannons all around Puerto Rico for defensive measure.
Okay. And we have South America here.
Yeah. So Brazil, being the first to assimilate the pale nations of Europe and make them become a distinctly different people than they was when they came. So we got a term called Brazilianization, which is a reflection of the drop of blood doctrine being assimilated with the least amount of resistance from the nomadic peoples, or the organic peoples, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the Brazilians look different than the rest of the tribe, because they've assimilated.
Okay. I think I asked you this before with the, this we're going to do like a real dope history lesson, y'all. There was a book when rocks cry out, and I believe he said that Jerusalem was the real Jerusalem was in Peru. You ever heard that before?
Look, Jerusalem is made up to push the Hebrew doctrine on us. Jerusalem only means city of peace. Wherever you've seen the metropolis at was a Jerusalem, a city of peace. They just trying to make it seem like it's some uniquely special shit. And if you go back to 1945, when they established the United Nations, 1948 is when they finally did their first act as a concerted United Nations, when they seized that land on the Gaza Bank and the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. But in the meeting between 45 and 48, they had 10 different locations that they was going to declare to be the state of Israel, right? With the city of Jerusalem as its capital. They settled on the city over there in the Middle East because they have ancient practices, right, built on top of ancient practices all in that area. And then they can use that as the justification for the false narrative of religious doctrine. That don't work on me. So what they're telling you when they talk about a city peace is any city that wasn't in a state of war, because all of our cities is currently in a state of war. And we know this because all our cities have some stuff called police, which is slave catchers that worked for the empire, that ain't turning our empire. And they were the ones catching the braves and taking them as hostages to prevent them becoming chiefs.
Right. Yeah, we got Antarctica over here, huh? This is the
yeah.
This is what everybody talk about, Antarctica. Okay. Rod, is there any ancient texts that deal with Antarctica or the land over there?
Yeah. The Hindus have a series of writings on the landmass, but under the ice, it would be Tartaria. It's actually called Tartarus in the Bible. In the book of Enoch, it's called Tartarus. And the book of Enoch gives you the terrain that's exactly the terrain under the ice. And it tell you it's the coldest desert in the world.
Right. Wow. 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 Just going over some land here. Wow. Okay. We got Asia. We got Russia.
So
Yeah.
what you're looking at now, you're looking at it from, when you're looking at it from what we would call an Anunnaki, do you see where the separation is between so-called Africa and the Middle East?
You breaking up, Rod. You talking about here? You said
Uh,
the separate.
that part right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything east of that, except for was Pakistan and India. Pakistan and India used to be called East Ethiopia. And Ethiopia means ether utopian. It goes back to something called Black Root Science.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to some documents. So this was the land of Enki,
Ethiopia.
right?
All of this here.
Those big, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everything north of India, Europe, and Asia is the land, and Australia, and it goes down to the far east to Australia. That was all ISIS's territory or Inanna's territory by the division of the three um, Anunnakis of the earth. Then you had the Americas, which was the land of Tahuti, the great thunderbird, Kukulkan, Quetzalcoatl, right? But when you start reading those documents and you find out, you know, that the story of the air say I thought crashed and flew east and landed in the land of the hairy barbarian. He's talking about the original inhabitants set up Egypt. So when you zoom in, you will see that the Nile River is an artificial construct. It's not original over there, right? It was once the source of the fertile nature of what's now called the Sahara Desert. But they engineered the Nile River to not run into the desert because they had to fill in the Mediterranean bit bigger because of Mount Vesuvius.
Right. Man. Yeah, this is that was interesting right there.
Yeah, I wasn't intending to go into no history lesson around the world.
Wow, man. That was yeah, and the thing about it, Rod, is that the maps, we don't even know how accurate the maps we got are. Like,
Do a
you know?
layover with the moon.
Hmm.
You do a layover with the moon because the moon is reflecting the map of the Earth.
Oh, the
The
moon? Yeah.
moon is the tech. Yeah, so the moon is supposed to be able to be used to tell you if it's sunken lands. The sunken lands show up in the moon. They got the oldest reflection of the Earth. It's seared in there for a reason.
Wow. Wow. We're gonna get to two more questions that we're gonna get out of here. Let's get to a super chat question. Hold up. Well, let me get to this one. What Rod, I think she's trying to say, what does Rod think about suicide?
Suicide resets you in the game, take you back till you can figure out why you keep abandoning your post. So, what actually the reason people commit suicide is part of the shut off matrix in the game. The game is designed that if you can't handle the pressure, that it ejects you from the game. And so you have to leave a clue behind for somebody to know that there was an issue here that needed to be studied so that we can find out how to exist longer within the parameters of the game. Most of us don't know. Nobody don't never tell us when we little. We know as you grow up, life's supposed to have ups and downs. Sometimes this shit supposed to get so hard you don't even want to be here no more. But you supposed to work your way through it, and that's when the better days come.
Mm.
But it comes from from teaching people, not teaching people that life's supposed to get difficult, because the difficult times is the test for all of the easy times that you had before it. You was studying.
Right.
When you turn into a university, it hit different.
Mm. All right, let's get to the next question. Rod, can you explain how to reclaim family land if the corporation is defunct? Are land deeds contracts null and void?
The only thing they're gonna be good for is what you call a trace record. The trace record is because, remember, the contract was canceled because they never honored the treaty. All of the treaties was all made up and predicated up on fraud, a constructed fraud. The constructed fraud was they declared $5 Indians chiefs and signed treaties as if they was with us. And when we seen in the South, a lot of us got trapped into what we call blind treaty agreements by not knowing the what we call the Queen's language, and not knowing the legalese, and not knowing that they're not the same. So a lot of them got trapped into signing treaties that they knew didn't have a fucking clue what they were signing, which was fraud. So when all of the contracts is canceled, when the everything shut down and come back online, it'll be a path clearly to find out where your family's shit at. Because the corporation is defunct. It's a wrap.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna do one more question, y'all. Then we're gonna get out of here. One more question, then we're gonna get out of here. Yeah, shout out yeah wants to know why are old wait, hold up. Why are
They
old
ain't never,
diseases like leprosy and scarlet fever returning?
because they ain't never went nowhere. They just changed the names of them. And leprosy was a term for 90% of illnesses a long time ago. But now illnesses has been classified in smaller and smaller groups because they find it in different causes. Over time, we think that leprosy is gone. No, leprosy is still here under different names. Same as scarlet fever. And then they calling it the flu and all these viruses and shit. It's the same shit. It's killing people the same way, and it's all manufactured in laboratories. And they spray it when they choose to.
Mm-hmm. All right, this is gonna be the last one. This is officially the last one. Brother Rod, can you explain the torus field? The torus field. We're gonna end it like
Okay,
this.
so when you got two polarities to a magnet, it creates a field. If it's laying flat, the field looks like the top of an apple, and it goes around, and the bottom of it looks the same. This is called a torus field or a torsion field. It's because of the pole in the center is it's projecting the field. Everything got a field. In the earth, it's called the atmosphere, but in the person, it's called an aura. And they are made in the torsion field. The heart chakra is in line with the crown chakra in order to produce a torsion field that's much bigger than the torsion field of your heart chakra being in alignment with your root chakra. When you have all of them in alignment, it makes your torsion field even bigger. So your toric field much is 60 feet around you. And when you wake fully into consciousness and your mitochondrial is putting out maximum output, which means that you get maximum information from the DEA, then you can reach up to 50 miles with your arc field. And this is why we are connected.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, man, Rod, I want to thank you once again for coming back on the channel, representing, holding it down, giving out this information on the Conjure
Yes,
Wars like
sir.
only you can do. Leave your information one more time before you get
Yeah.
out of here, my brother.
Y'all catch me on Instagram at the Sick Ape. That's at THESIKAPE. You can Ryan Hayes on Facebook. I do be on Instagram, but right now I have nothing scheduled. I might do a class with young elder. I haven't made it up yet.
Okay, okay. Yeah, definitely keep us updated with that. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This brother Rich, Rod Hayes. We signing our family. Peace. See you next time.